Hi, welcome back to the channel. I'm Michelle, and today I want to share with you kind of a skincare cosmetic haul. Now, this is not sponsored content or affiliate thing at all. I just really wanted to share some of the cosmetic slash skincare brand I use, because if you're anything like me, when you go down the rabbit hole of looking for cleaner products, especially things you put on your skin, it can be difficult to find things and weed through all that information. So, a long time ago, probably over 8 years ago, probably around the time I got pregnant with my daughter, so about 10 years, I started getting into more natural products. I think the things we put on our skin are very important. It's obviously our body's largest organ, it absorbs a lot, so I tend to go for cleaner products. Now, the things I'm going to show you are probably more expensive than your typical drugstore or Walmart, Target type thing, but they're really clean ingredients. So where I get most of my skincare and any of my cosmetics from is a brand called 100% Pure. And I have been using this for, like I said, probably about 9 years. What I really like about the company is that they're very transparent about their ingredients. They derive a lot of their ingredients from natural things like fruit. A lot of their pigmentation is made from fruit. So natural ingredients, transparent about it. You can see the list of where everything comes from. And on top of that, if you're new here, my youngest daughter has celiac disease, so we don't bring any gluten into the house, at least a bare minimal. And some people might think that's weird, like, why does it matter if gluten is in your cosmetics or your skincare if you're not necessarily ingesting it? Well, first of all, when you're talking about things like lipstick, chapstick, things that go on your mouth, you are inadvertently ingesting those things. So that is something to be very aware of when you have something like celiac disease, because when you have celiac disease, you can't tolerate any amount of gluten. So that's really important. On top of skincare and makeup and things like that, there are some people that have physical, like skin reactions to gluten, dermatitis type thing. I'm not aware that my daughter has that. I've never actually rubbed a wheat on her skin to see if anything happens. But I always err on the side of caution with it, because the way I see it is my daughter's body reacts so heavily to gluten, probably putting it on her skin wouldn't be a good idea. So, is my 6-year-old old enough for, cosmetics and skincare? Not necessarily, lotion and chapstick, yes, but I want to be able to have things in our house that I've used and that will be safe for her, and there's no issue of cross-contamination or me touching something that had gluten and using it later. So it's just easier to make sure those things are gluten-free, and then when my daughter gets of age where she's interested in more of these things, I will know what products to recommend for her. And one of the things I love about 100% Pure is they are very good about labeling their stuff, things that are gluten-free. For example, I recently got a mask, like a face mask, and it had oat in it. And if you didn't know, oats are highly at risk for cross-contamination because of the manufacturing lines they're on. And again, I'm trying to limit the amount of gluten or eliminate it that enters into our house. So I emailed customer service. They emailed me back within a day saying it's completely fine. We have dedicated lines. We also test outside, third-party testing for things, allergen testing, which is so important. And I really appreciate that they know what's in their products. They know their manufacturing lines, and they will tell you. A lot of brands I've come across will say, well, we can't guarantee there isn't cross-contamination. And that's a difficult thing for someone who is dealing with any type of allergy or autoimmune condition. So I really appreciate that they're transparent. The customer service woman was able to give me a list of things that contain gluten, because if you didn't know, things like mascara, think gluten has a binding ingredient, right? That's the main point of it, or a thickening agent. So things like mascara, it is possible to be in cosmetics like that, and again, your eyes, things like that. So they were able to give me a list, and they only had, I think, 5 things out of all of their line that have gluten in them, that they're tested and know it has gluten. And again, the other things that they provide are made on a separate line. So, long intro there. I'm going to share what I actually picked up. Now, I'm not a big makeup person. I never have been. I don't anticipate I ever will be. But skincare is something that I, especially, 36, I'm getting more into. I think taking care of my skin is something that's important. I'm not interested in things like anti-aging or anything like that. In fact, I've always been mistook for being much younger than I am, so I welcome, gray hair and wrinkles and all that. But my skin is usually very dry. And that's just, I think, part of aging, but also part of, I have hypothyroidism, and that is one of the symptoms of it, is naturally drier skin. So normal over-the-counter things don't work for me, don't moisturize. I've tried a lot of natural options, and they don't really work. So I'm going to show you the plethora of things I picked up. Now, I bought this stuff during their Black Friday sale, so like the week after Thanksgiving, they have, I think it's a stocking stuffer sale or something. If you spend a certain amount, all these products are really discounted, like $10. So I tend to stock up during that time of year and get the things I want because that's usually the best price I can find. So the first thing I picked up, like I said, I'm trying to concentrate more on skincare. So this was one of their things. Now this was I signed up for, they have monthly subscription boxes right now, which is really exciting. So this was the, I believe, November subscription box. And it's a toner, a cleanser, and a moisturizer. And I've been using these for about a week and a half. And I think you can see my skin is kind of glowy right now, but I think they're working really well, and it really helps with that dry skin I have. So I really like that, and there's no burning or alcohol or anything like that in it. On top of looking for dry skin, I picked up some argan oil. And again, I usually use this with, like at night before I go to bed or after I shower to really moisturize my skin. And what's nice, this can also be used on not just your face, but your hair and cuticles and things like that. I picked up some vitamin C boost. Again, I figure like this will be a good thing, especially in winter, to use on my skin occasionally. So if you spent a certain amount, you got to pick some free samples. So the ones I picked were a clay cleanser and a vitamin PM serum. And if you're curious, I will link down below. There is a group called the Environmental Working Group, and they kind of categorize and assign numbers based on the ingredients is the hazard level of that. And most of 100% pure gets a really low rating, which is a good thing, which means there's not a lot of harmful chemicals in it. So I will link that down below. So I picked up a couple face masks for my daughter. My 10-year-old is getting very into face masks and starting to dabble with skincare. So got a collagen boost, and again, these are things that I am fine using on my skin and fine using on my kids' skin. I know a lot of people, when preteens or things like that, they get not the best cosmetics or skincare, and again, you want to be careful what you're allowing your kids to put on their skin because that is being absorbed, those chemicals. So Does It All sheet mask, deep hydration sheet mask, so those are for her. I also picked up a charcoal cognac sponge. I've used this in the past. It's a really good, especially with my dry skin, I find it helps with exfoliating too. So I use that every night. Onto makeup. And one thing I will say that I really appreciate about 100% pure packaging is, as you can see, so this is the packaging for the first one I showed you. It shows you that it's free of all those things, but it's also, what I really appreciate, the gluten-free. And that's on all of their packaging because this is very important to my family. And it's nice to have a brand that you can trust and turn to and know that you're putting decent ingredients on your body. So for makeup, I picked up this luminous primer. Now this is a tinted primer. And again, this is all I will use. I don't have, like you can see my skin, it's a little blotchy now because we just got done with all the food of Christmas and my body tends to react a little more to that. But I don't need a full foundation, and I haven't since, my diet and the skincare I use is pretty decent. I don't have any issues with that. Dry skin is my main issue. But I find this is enough. A primer really helps because, again, it gives you that more dewy skin look under your foundation, and especially with my dry skin, this is an essential. If I put foundation over my just plain skin, it will flake and be super dry. That's just how my skin is. So if I ever do put any type of makeup on, I will use the luminous primer, and most of the time I will just use this as my foundation. So I picked up one of these because, again, I only put on makeup probably a few times a year. So I needed to get a new makeup blender, so I picked that up. Again, it was really cheap. So the last couple things I picked up are, I picked up some nail polish. So I got pink for my 6-year-old. Again, why is nail polish important to be gluten-free? My 6-year-old still sticks her fingers in her mouth, so that is a concern I have. My 10-year-old, she really likes purple. And then for me, I got this kind of like dark reddish cranberry color. It doesn't really show well on camera. And then one more thing I picked up for the girls was this little gift bag. And it's just a lotion and chapstick set, and there is one for each kid. Now, yes, are there many versions of gluten-free chapstick that are probably a lot cheaper? Yeah, it was just an add-on that I put on because, again, it was that discounted price. And I really like their hand cream because a lot of hand creams will use things like oat, which, again, I've talked about is an issue within our house. Things like Aveeno work really well, but we can't use it because of the oats in it. But this works really well for dry skin, especially in winter. You know, last week was -35 with wind chill. So it's important that we are moisturizing our hands so they're not cracking and bleeding. So one thing I did want to mention that isn't to do with this brand is nail polish. I talked about non-toxic nail polish and how that's important. I want to show you my favorite brand really quick. So my favorite brand for kids nail polish, again, my kids still stick their fingers, well, my 10-year-old doesn't, my 6-year-old does, but having non-toxic nail polish is important. So what I really like is the brand Piggy Paint. There's a plethora of colors, and they even have scented ones, and they have stickers, so they have all that fun stuff. And I believe you can buy them at Target as well. I got these, most of them, from the, I believe, manufacturer's website. But the only downside to these is because they are non-toxic, they don't stay the best. They will chip off pretty easily, but again, my kids don't mind. It usually doesn't last very long with them with nail polish anyways. But one thing they did, Piggy Paint Company also has a nail polish line for adults, which is called Sophie. And this is what I got. This is, Date Night, that's what it's called. I got this for like fall. It's almost like a blackish purple. And what's really nice is if you buy this Prime and Shine seal system, their nail polish does not come off at all. I had this on for almost a month. And sure, it did chip a little around the edges because, you know, especially as a mom, I'm constantly using my hands. It does chip, but that's easy to just put a little bit nail polish on there. But it lasted probably almost 2 weeks without any chipping at all, and then I would touch it up occasionally, but it lasted well over a month with this primer and sealer system. So it's really awesome, keeps nail polish on. I can also use it with the kids if they want theirs to last longer. For example, I did purple with my daughter, and it lasted about the same amount of time. The only downside is it's extremely hard to get the nail polish off when you want it to come off. I know they do sell a gel nail polish remover that I think I might have to try in the future just because it works so well that maybe their gel remover helps take off, but I find that works really well. So that is everything I picked up from 100% Pure, and then a little side about the nail polish I do enjoy. If you have any questions, leave them down below. Nah, thank you for watching.